Pyrotechnics, who is going to talk up to Reckless about that win.
Thank you very much, Pulse. I am joined by Reckless, the AD carry from Fnatic. Congratulations on your victory today. You guys are creeping closer to the playoffs, but there has definitely been some inconsistency. For a team who has kind of had a lot of ups and downs in the recent times, and you've talked about looking to the future, where do you think Fnatic is at right now as a team?
Well, I guess the standings talks for itself in some ways. We're, I guess, below the top teams and ahead of the bottom teams. But then again, we also dropped the game to Spice, so it's kind of hard to tell where we're at. But at the same time, I feel like we're improving on a weekly basis. Therefore, I'm not sure what state we're going to be in for playoffs, but I think we'll be as ready as we can possibly be. And I'm pretty excited to see what also IEM can bring for us as a team and perhaps tighten us as a group and make us more cohesive, perhaps, as a unit.
Absolutely. This isn't even your final form. I'm excited to see how you do that tournament next week and going forward towards those playoffs. So I want to ask a little bit about Daylor, since he is your coach. He's the most decorated coach we have here in Europe. What, in your opinion, we've heard from a lot of people singing his praises, what, in your opinion, is the biggest thing, what makes Daylor such an impactful coach on your team?
For me, the biggest thing about Daylor is how he managed to click it on and off between like practice times and whatnot. Like, he is a very, very good friend of mine outside of our practice schedules. But while we're actually practicing, he's 110%, giving it 110% every time, trying to improve us as a team, improve us as individuals, and really looking at all times to just improve on a global scale. And I think the difference in between outside of practice and inside practice is really, really great to have, because it just makes it a more friendly atmosphere in many ways.
I'm glad he's able to be your friend as well as your coach and mentor. Really quick last question for you too. You said that you have time to sit down and talk to him. Does he make a point to seek out every single player and just sit down with each one of them and pinpoint every little thing they can do to improve, or is it mostly just sitting together as a team?
Well, during practice times, we're mostly focused on ourselves as a team, obviously. I think solo queue and whatnot is mostly for individual practice, but I think how he schedules it and how we have like individual meetings at many times, it makes it very personal in many ways. And I think that's really, really important to have and not only be work partners, right? We're also friends in the end of things, and I think that's just makes it feel so much better in general.
It's good to hear. It's a positive environment, it sounds like. Well, once again, congratulations on your victory, and we will go ahead and send it over to the analyst desk to further break that one down and get a few words in with Fnatic's coach.
Thank you very much, Pyra. Indeed, joined here by Daylor. Congratulations, of course, first off with that victory. A lot of kind words from one of your players, Reckless there. The first thing
he has to, kind of, though.
He has to. He knows.
I don't know a rhyme, but there are no kind words, no food, or like.
Yeah, we still don't have that sentence, but of course they know.
The first thing I want to ask you about, Daylor, is, of course, Clyde coming into the lineup. We knew from you guys that it was to improve faster, and we hear that you have a lot of individual feedback with the players. How do you think he's been adjusting, and how do you think Fnatic has been adjusting with him?
I think he's adjusting pretty good. Like, when we got Clyde, we're not looking for a guy that was going to have a massive impact from the beginning. It's more like we're trying to build a project, and we felt that he could mesh really well with the team, both gameplay and personality-wise, and I think he's doing his job and he's improving from week to week, and he's working really hard, so I think he's doing good.
Well, we hear this a lot from you guys as a team from Fnatic, that you want the players to click outside of the game as well, personality-wise, and that's something that other teams might not put as much emphasis on. Is it something that comes from you or from the players, and why is that?
From my point of view, if you want to have a long-term project, the way it's going to work is if the team meshes. Of course, you can have a long-term project where there's conflicts all the time, but this just makes everything so much more difficult. So maybe, let's say that you have 5 players that are really good, and you have a really conflictive player. This is going to create the atmosphere that at some point it can explode. So if you're all the time winning, it's not going to have impact, but if it's kind of shaky at some point, this could be really difficult.
Obviously, you need to trade that off long-term success with at least some short-term successes as well, because obviously you don't want to be doing very poorly at the start, only to always look at the long-term. Has Fnatic, or have you ever at any point gotten worried about we're not doing that well just yet, or is it just still going according to timeline?
I actually don't know what's according to the timeline, because I cannot say, okay, we're going to get this player, so in 1 month we're going to be beating everyone.
Yeah.
I cannot really do this. So I can see the potential in a player, and I try to work with him, and I can have an estimation. But even though at the beginning of the split, many people ask me like, how do you think you're going to do? I thought that it was going to be really rough, and it's actually just being as more or less as expected. We did a player swap, and I think that player swap was really beneficial for our team dynamic. And even though the results are not showing, I see the growth of the team from week to week. And also it has happened that some teams from the beginning have a team identity. So when you find your team identity, it's kind of easier to grow.
Yep.
It's like you find your team identity, and from there you start growing on the rest. I think what has happened with us, it's kind of we reach a point, we hit a wall. Okay, this is not the correct way, and then we repeat the process. So every time that you do this, you improve in an area, but you don't excel at that area. So let's say I'm going to talk about a team that has a particular style. G2 they remind me to how we played last year, that they were going ham. We were going ham all the time. They played this way. So because they have an identity, they can start from that point. But at the same time, this is kind of double-edged, because you have your identity, you're really strong from the beginning, but then because you're so one-dimensional this way, it's so much more difficult to evolve. And then the coaching staff comes in, and then you start growing. So in our case, because we've been trying something, hit the wall, go back to the starting point, trying something. So we're learning a lot of stuff, but we're not mastering yet. But what I think that it will happen is that at some point, all this will come up together, and then we will show what we've been learning. So at that point that we find our identity, then everything will show. And I think we are working properly in that direction. How long it will take, I'm not completely sure, but I think we're in the good pace, and I think for playoff we will be ready.
Cool.
Oh, I thought you had a...
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that. Looking towards the race for playoffs, we obviously have Katowice coming up. Some teams have a break or they will scream. You guys are obviously playing that tournament. What's the goal? Is the goal to do well at Katowice, or is this just another step in that building phase towards playoffs?
Of course, the goal is always it's part of the goals to do good. But from my point of view, we're still a team that is growing, is building. And for example, I think that this is going to be a really good experience for, let's say, Clyde, that he's a new player. Also, it's going to help us continue improving. Screen with teams from outside of Europe is going to give us other perspectives, and this will help us grow. So, of course, my idea is let's do the best we can, but at the same time, I want to win. But I know that this is a learning experience, that this is going to help us be even stronger in the future.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for that insight. We, of course, had the feature of you earlier, and congratulations for that win. Good
And a
luck.
very clean gaming house. I can't stress this enough. I want to live in that gaming house. It's way better than everything I've been in my life.
All right, and good luck in Katowice as well,
Thank you very
Taylor.
much.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Vitality versus Elements to close out our week here. Keep it tuned right here. Our coverage of the European LCS. We'll be right back.
That was good.
Why is no one in this team singing on stage? Usually always the guy sings.
Because we don't even care about mic checks, you know?
Ooh.
We are too toxic.
Reckless drags in the support. Nice knockback from the Fate's call. Fevrin goes deep. Hits the ult onto 4 people, but he instantly gets blown up. Spirit's gonna have to come out for the steal to make it happen, and he comes over the wall and actually gets it.
Oh, pentakill! Go pentakill! Go pentakill! You got this! You got this! You got this! Continue! You got this! Yeah! Good job!
And they're going in again. Fevrin jumps in with the glacial path. There comes the W. Everyone's being locked down. Tabs already taken out by Reckless and Gamsu combined. But after 2 big team fights, we'll be taking the win over ROCCAT.